Okay, good morning, everyone. I see people are starting to show up in the live chat here. So I think Cindy's here. Good morning. Karen's here. Good morning. And Pearly. Um, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, but good morning. Caleb, if you're still using Caleb, good morning to you. Ella's here. Good morning, Ella. Manish is here. Good morning. Liana's here. Good morning to you. And Jenna and lots of other people. Casey is here. I think Jimmy is here and Sam. Good morning, Lim. How are you? Carmen's here. Morning, Carmen. That's Lily. Good morning, Lily. And Michael, good morning. All right. So it looks like most people have found their way in here, so that's good. I'll just wait one more minute. I think we've almost got everybody in, and then I'll start talking. Um, we'll just do a very kind of, well, maybe not short, but we'll do a little walk through the course syllabus. We'll talk a little bit about what this sort of online experience is going to be like, what the class is about, and then that's kind of all we'll do for today. So we won't do anything heavy. We've still got students who are registering right now and moving around, so I don't want to jump into too much right away. But we will get an idea of what this class is going to be like. Min is here, good morning, and Faye is here also, good morning. So I think that might be just about all of us. Good morning, okay. Okay, so I will start. So good morning, my name is Mike. I'll be your instructor for Comparative Cultures 12. Some of you know me already. Some of you have met me or have at least seen me wandering around the school. And then some of you, of course, are new and you don't really know me at all. But we have 12 weeks to kind of get to know one another. I know that this kind of virtual online thing makes it a little bit more difficult, but we'll figure it out. Unfortunately, we have the technology and the tools to kind of make this work, and so yeah, fortunately, we can. I can do this class from my kitchen, as you can see. I guess I'm gonna have to make sure that things are clean here so that it looks good on camera, right? But anyway, so if you don't know me, I've been teaching at the college for almost 5 years now. I teach Social Justice 12, I teach this class, I teach History 12, and from time to time I also teach a first year anthropology class in the UT program at Columbia College. Yeah, okay, so let's dive into this. Most of the way we'll be doing this is through a mix of a few pieces of software. few pieces of software. I should mention too, if you want to ask questions or say things in the live chat, I can keep an eye on it while I'm talking. So if you want me to answer a question or if you want to say something, just throw it right in there, and that's fine. Okay. Right. So I'll be using this. I'll be using YouTube probably a fair amount, mostly to do lecture-y type things, right? Because that allows me to talk to you all at once. Obviously, you can't directly talk to me, but you can say what you want in the little comments box. And of course, it gets recorded and posted. And so if anyone misses something or if they want to go back and hear it, they can do that. And so I think YouTube is kind of an easy platform to do that. We'll also make use of Microsoft Teams, and so we've already done that a little bit by sort of posting messages, and so I'll be able to keep you informed of things and ask you to do things through Microsoft Teams. You can also ask questions of me through Microsoft Teams outside of class time, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And we'll also do some video chats through Microsoft Teams as well, so that'll allow us to interact kind of one-on-one. And then I'm sure you've all used or at least seen the college student portal as well. I'll post some things in there under course documents, and so far, so far what you'll see there is the course syllabus and the textbook we'll be using. Don't panic on the textbook because we will not read the whole thing. My cat has arrived here. Hi, good morning. Good morning again. Yeah, this is my cat Sesame. If you don't know her, she will show up probably in a number of videos because she lives here. And so you're not going to make a nuisance of yourself, are you? Okay. Okay. I know, she's cute, hey? You're cute, I know. I know. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so we'll be using YouTube, we'll be using Microsoft Teams, and we'll be using Student Portal to post things that you might need. And so, what I'll do. Hi, are you going to have another adoring public? Okay, an adoring public. I know. Just need some attention, eh? Just need some attention. Okay. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up the syllabus. And so the syllabus is posted on Student Portal. You can look at it a little bit later, but for now, you can just sort of watch on screen, and I'll walk you through it. Okay. So this is Comparative Cultures 12. I've got a little description of what the course is going to be about. And what it is, as you can see, is an examination of human culture. And so it's kind of a mix of a few things. This course is a little bit world history. This course is a little bit anthropology. And anthropology is the study of human beings and human culture. And so there'll kind of be a mix of those things. We'll look at some ancient world cultures, like cultures from the Near East, the Middle East. We'll look at India and China and Greece and Rome and things like that. And so we'll try to learn some cultural lessons from those cultures. We'll try to understand how culture works, but we'll also try to pull some of those lessons into the present day. And so I want this course to be kind of interesting and a bit of a walk through history, but I also want to pull it forward into the modern world so that we can gain a better understanding of how the world works currently, and and how we can use this knowledge in the modern world. So again, the class will be a mix of a few different things. The textbook for this course I've posted on Student Portal. It's called World History to 1500. It's in two pieces just because the file was too big to put up there all in one. Again, don't panic. We're not going to read the entire textbook. We'll just read certain sections of it. And I have some other things that I'm going to add and supplement with that as well. Now, this core, Aliana, I'll just answer your question here before I forget to. In terms of office hours, normally, of course, we would have an office on campus, and I would go there at a certain time and kind of sit there so you could ask me questions. But since we're not doing that, and since things are kind of more flexible, some of us are in different time zones, I think what I'm going to try to do is just leave it open. And so if you have a question and you want to message me in Microsoft Teams, then I'll answer it kind of as soon as I see it. I usually have Microsoft Teams open on my computer. Sometimes I'm at my computer, sometimes I'm not. But if I'm available and I see it, I'll answer it. And so you can message me anytime you want, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. You can also email me if you want to do that. And if we need to have sort of a face-to-face meeting, we can always schedule something and use Microsoft Teams to talk. And so um, basically, I'm potentially always available. But if you need to talk, I will set something up. I will make time for you. Okay, so that's no problem. I'm just not going to set exact hours because it's probably not going to work very well for us all. And I think, excuse me, I think the flexibility is probably better. So that's what I'll do. Um, moving on, you're very welcome. Moving on to the learning outcomes. So BC curriculums have changed in the last few years, and they've changed in such a way that um, the Ministry of Education is putting a lot less focus on just knowing a lot of things, a lot less focus on knowledge, and more focus on skills. And I think that's a good thing. I mentioned this in my social justice class this morning, and so those of you who are there, this might be a bit of a repeat. But one of the things that we're seeing happen in terms of how the world is changing and where we're going as a global society is that more and more things are becoming automated. More and more things are being run by artificial intelligence. And so what us humans, especially us younger humans who are looking to enter the job market eventually, what us younger humans need to do, and us older humans actually, what we need to do is learn skills that learn to do things that machines don't do very well, and not focus so much on things that machines do very well. Good morning. And the things that machines do very well is things that are repetitive, things that don't really require you to think very much, um, and simply knowing and retrieving information. Okay, and so traditionally, school has been very much like that, right? School has been about memorizing and sort of knowing as much knowledge as you can, and then sort of spitting it back out on an exam. But increasingly, those skills are not what is useful. And so, as you can see here on the syllabus, this kind of skills that we're going to look at are how do we ask good questions? How do we understand complex subjects? And how can we figure out how to find and create answers to complicated questions? That's really more what the social studies group of courses in the BC curriculum is really about. And so, will we have to learn things? Yeah, absolutely. Will we have to remember them? Definitely. But we're not going to focus so much on the memorization of knowledge. We're going to focus more on developing our thinking skills around that knowledge. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a different approach than maybe we're used to. But I think it's going to be one that's more rewarding and probably more useful to us as well. And so I won't go through all of these courses, but all of these learning outcomes here or skills. But we will walk through them as we go through the course, and we'll use the information that we're learning in order to develop those skills. That's the plan here. In addition to that, there are these core competencies, 3 of them. One of them is communication, and of course we can talk about ways in which we communicate and how we develop good communication skills. We can deal with that. We will deal a lot with our thinking, particularly our critical thinking, in terms of how we can understand complicated subjects, how we can determine what kind of information we should believe and what kind of information we shouldn't. And then there's this personal and social competency. And this one's a little more tricky because it has to do with how we understand ourselves and how we see ourselves in the world, how we take care of ourselves. That one's a little more tricky because we're all a little bit different. We are all sort of living different experiences in different lives. And so That one's a little trickier to integrate into the course, but I will find a way to do it. So don't worry about that. The next thing I have here is a course schedule, and this is a very kind of rough schedule of what we'll do during the course. I usually like to leave enough sort of wiggle room so that if we need a little more time with something, or if we find something that's really interesting, we can spend time with it. If there's something that is really simple for us and we move through it quickly, or if it's something that people are really not excited about, we can always move through faster. And so I like to leave enough wiggle room so that we can change things up. But the schedule here is just a very rough idea of what we'll be going through. And so, as you can see here at the beginning, we'll talk about culture and anthropology. So we'll have to learn what culture is and what anthropology is and how anthropology sees the world. And then we'll look through a number of different civilizations, and we'll try to tie pieces of those civilizations to aspects of the modern world. And so that will allow us to work on the skills we need to develop. We'll learn a little bit about ancient history, but we'll also try to make connections to the modern world as well. In terms of how I will mark you, or where your grades will come from. So again, I don't want to take a heavily knowledge-based approach to this course, and so for that reason, there's no final exam and there's no midterm exam either. Now, part of the reason that there isn't is because we want to work on skill development here, not so much just learning knowledge. The second reason why there aren't any exams is because of the format that we're learning in. And so if you imagine if Aliana's writing her final exam at home, I need to be able to make sure that everybody is writing on the same level as Aliana, okay? And so because I can't see you, because we're not all in the same room, I can't really guarantee that everyone is on the same playing field, right? I can't guarantee that nobody is using their phone or using their textbook or has their friend nearby or whatever. I can't really guarantee that. And so for that reason, I've also chosen not to do an exam-based course. I've chosen instead to do one that's a little more based on writing and a little more based on thinking. So your mark will come from a few places. As you can see, part of it will come from attendance and participation. And so obviously I'll keep track of who is participating in the live chat here, who is signing on to Microsoft Teams. We'll have some discussions through Microsoft Teams as well, and I will sort of keep track of that. We'll have a few oral quizzes, and so again, we'll do that through Microsoft Teams. It'll just take a minute or two, and so you and I will have a little video conference. I'll ask you maybe one question or two questions. I'll say, hey, tell me what you know about this, or tell me what you know about that. You'll explain what you know, and then I'll mark you based on that. It's not going to be super intense, but it's just to make sure that we are actually learning the knowledge that we need to learn, because we do need to learn some. The last piece of the puzzle is these papers. And so I've got little micro papers, and then I've got a research paper. And so micro papers are something I've just created. And they are very, very small research papers. And so they're one page, they will use one source, and they'll just kind of discuss one thing. And so it will allow us to work a little bit on our writing, our summarizing, our paraphrasing, without creating a paper that's kind of too big or too involved. And so again, they're very short, they're just one page, that's all I want. We'll talk more about those very shortly. And so we'll do 3 of those, and then toward the end we'll do one that's a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated, but I'm hoping that because we've done these little micro papers, the larger one is not that difficult. I'm hoping. After that, you'll see there's some attendance policies here and a classroom code of conduct. I'll let you read that on your own. Some of it will apply still because it will. Some of it won't apply because we're in a different situation now, right? You're at home, and so I'll just let you read through it and take from it what you think is still useful. Um, one of the things that I will say, one of the things that I will say in connection with this part of the syllabus is that we will need to. I'm just going to switch back to my main camera here. Oops. Hold on a sec. Okay. Um, one of the things that I will mention is that we will need to find a way to make sure that we're engaging with the class. And this is going to be a little bit more tricky than maybe we're used to. I know many students, and I'm like this as well. I rely on being in the room with everyone, right? When you come to class and you sit down, you've gotten up and you're dressed and you've got your bag and your books and everything, and you sit down and people are talking to you and the teacher's asking you questions, and that sort of keeps you engaged, right? It keeps you paying attention and working through the class. In this context, it's going to be very different. It's going to be very tempting for all of us to kind of sit back and just passively watch what's going on the screen. Oh, can you guys see that notification, that email notification, or um, where was I? Okay. It's going to be very, you can see it? Okay, that's weird. I'll have to fix that. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to take more effort for us to stay engaged because again, we're all very used to kind of just sitting there and passively looking at our screens, right? So you watch Netflix or you're watching YouTube videos or whatever, and it's a passive experience, right? You're just sitting there watching it. And I've seen this happen. I've been in lots of Zoom meetings and Microsoft Teams meetings, and it's very tempting to not really engage with people because you're just used to kind of just sitting there and watching it happen. And so we're all going to have to take to make an extra effort to engage, and that means typing in more comments than you might normally be inclined to. In sort of in a video chat, in a Microsoft Teams chat, it might mean speaking more than you normally would, or more than you're comfortable. We're all going to have to make an extra effort in that regard because again, we can't rely on being in the same room with each other. We can't rely on actually being there face to face. And so that's part of the extra work that this class is going to be, that really all of your classes are going to be, is kind of reaching out more than you're comfortable with or more than you normally would. But that's really what's going to make the class interesting and engaging, is that if we all do a little more than we normally would, we reach out a little more than we normally would. That's really going to help. The other thing I might say in that regard is you might want to think about how you're going to keep yourself engaged, not just in this class, but all your classes. What little tricks can you put in place to make sure that you're kind of in school mode, in business mode? For some of us, it might be no, don't just say, Aliana, don't just say anything, but say something good. But even that is okay, right? Even that sort of even that helps out, right? Because that keeps us connected. So yeah, that'll work. What's going to sort of get you into school mode? And so, you know, for me, I'm kind of on camera here this morning, so I've made sure that I woke up and I had a shower and I brushed my teeth and I got dressed. I find wearing shoes actually helps, and so I'm wearing shoes right now. I have a little workspace here, even though it's in the kitchen, that I can work at. And so those are kind of little things that, yeah, I got an instant notification. That's my phone because my webcam's actually my phone. Um, I'll have to fix that too. Let me see. Where was I? Yeah. Um, I think it might be tempting to just sort of like lie in bed and watch this with your phone, but that's not going to help you stay engaged. Okay. So um, if you haven't thought of it already, if I were you, I might think about little things that are going to help you to kind of be ready for school. And again, it might be, you know, having a shower and getting dressed, or it might be wearing shoes, or it might be setting up a little workspace for yourself, or I don't know what it might be, but it might be a good idea to think about what sorts of things you can do to sort of make sure you're in school mode, because we can't really rely on sort of being in the classroom to help us to do that. Okay. Um, Maybe one of the last things I'll say here this morning, and I said it to my social justice class, um, but I think classes like this are maybe more important than sometimes not certain people, but than people might give them credit for. Um, Often we see there's a lot of focus on math and science and technology courses, and I certainly agree that they're important, but the courses in social sciences, the courses in social studies, in history, in social justice, in culture, um, I think those are all critically important. And I think we don't have to look further than what's happening in the US right now to see that. Um, if you've been paying attention to any of the news, you've seen that the US's handling of this coronavirus situation has been pretty questionable, right? And that's not due to science or technology. The US is as good a science country as really any of the G7 countries, right? They're very scientifically and technologically developed and adept. But really, where they're struggling is they can't seem to agree on things. They can't seem to talk to each other. They can't seem to talk to each other. They can't seem to agree on things. They can't seem to determine priorities or what things are important or how to have a conversation and come to an agreement on something. Those are the things that social science is good at, but often those skills don't get enough credit. Often it's science and technology that people give importance to. But again, if you look what's happening in the United States, you'll see that science and technology isn't really the issue. It is a set of other skills that people are struggling with, and it's having a pretty negative effect on their country as a whole. So, um, yeah, I think a course like this or any course in social sciences, is incredibly important. Um, Science and technology isn't kind of the only important thing, and math. So I'm just going to check my live chat here. Do you get notes, or will you have to make your own? Manish, I will post. I have some sort of lecture slides, some PowerPoints or keynotes that I'll use. I will post all of those for you. Um, it might not be a bad idea to make notes from time to time. I've got a little pad and paper right here, and that can help you to summarize things. It can help you to ask questions. So I would make some notes if it makes sense for you. But everything that comes up on the screen, you will have access to. Okay, so I don't know, maybe that will help you. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea to take notes, but everything you see on the screen I will provide you with. Okay, a couple more things. First of all, I wanted to see, you're very welcome. Because we're online, some of us are in Vancouver and some of us are not. And so in the live chat here, can you quickly tell me, if you're not in Vancouver, can you tell me where you are, just so I can have a quick list of what time zone people are in? So can you just live chat me and just tell me where you are? Because that will be useful. Okay, so Ella's back in China. Okay. Who else? Jen is in Vancouver. Okay, good. Who else? Let me know if you're let me know where you are. Sarvesh, you're in Singapore. Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about you there. That's way too late for you to be up. Mike's in Vancouver. Manisha's in Vancouver. Okay. Who else? Sam's in Vancouver. Okay, good. Who else? Pearlie's in Vancouver. Okay, very good. Who else? Do we just have two people not in Vancouver? Is that right? Oh, okay. You're in Vietnam. Okay, Lily's in Vancouver. It's good. Who else? Other people who are somewhere else. Jimmy's in Vancouver. Good. Casey's in Vancouver. Good. Karen's here. Good. Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, another Vancouver. Carmen's in Vancouver. Good. Caleb's in Vancouver. All right. All right. That looks pretty good. I think that's not bad. That's just a small kind of cohort that are overseas. So that's good. We'll deal with that though, because I know Sarvesh, particularly for you, that's really late for you to be up, and I don't know that you want to be up until 3 or 4 in the morning every morning. So we're gonna have to figure out something, but I will figure something out. Hey, no jumping on the walls. Sorry, cat's misbehaving. Yeah, there's no jumping on the walls. The last thing I want to ask you to do, and I'll do this in a second, is I'm just going to put a little doodle poll up into Microsoft Teams. And what I'd like you to do is just let me know what kind of technology you're working with. That will just kind of help me envision sort of what you can do at home, okay? You'll find a way. Well, we'll see what we're gonna do about that, Sarvesh. That's really late. That's really late. Okay, so in Microsoft Teams, I'll put up a little poll. You can just let me know what kind of technology you have so that I know what you sort of can do and can't do. Wi-Fi is bad, so it's hard to do a lot of things. Yeah, and Wi-Fi is another issue as well, right? Okay, so I'll put that up in Microsoft Teams after I'm done talking here, but I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say for this morning. Again, I didn't want to I don't want to dive into the course material quite yet, because again, some people are still registering, and it's our first day. We don't want to strain ourselves on the first day back, right? So I would say that's about all I have to tell you, I think, for right now. Does anyone want to ask me questions in the live chat here that I can answer for you right at the moment? Because I'm happy to answer Anything? Can you tell us what we're doing before class so we can get ready? Um, Probably what I'll do, Michael, probably the way it will happen is I'll either start with a live chat or with a live stream just like this, or I'll post I'll post what I want you to do in Microsoft Teams. And so I might tell you, at 10 o'clock or at 10 o'clock when we start class, you'll see a little thing come up in Microsoft Teams, and I'll tell you to read this or watch this video or answer these questions, and then we'll do something after. That's kind of how it will. That's kind of how it'll be. I probably won't. I probably won't give you that much advance notice because I do want to try to keep the class. I do want to keep most of our class activities happening when the class is actually running. It's probably going to be, it might be complicated just because we have people in other time zones. And so I'm going to try to manage that. But I'm going to try and keep this class happening within the time that it's supposed to happen. That way, that'll sort of keep us on track and keep us organized. And so I don't want this to, oh, you're in Kamloops. Okay, that's cool. That's the same time zone, so that's good. I don't want this to operate. I don't want this to operate like a distance learning class that you just do whenever you feel like it. I want us to have class during this time, if at all possible, unless you're on the other side of the world, like a few of you are, and we'll kind of sort you out. Hello. You're back for another cameo? You back for another cameo? Okay. So yeah, so I'll give you notice. I'll give you kind of notice at the beginning of class what we're doing. But again, it's not a distance learning class that you do whenever. It's a class that we do together at a set time. Again, unless you're in, Singapore or China or Vietnam, and then I'll talk to you and we'll sort of figure out what makes sense for you. Okay. I think that's about all I have to say. So if you have any questions for me between now and tomorrow, you can send me an email. You can send me a little Microsoft Teams message. That's fine. A few people are still, what is my cat's name? That's a very important question. My cat's name is Sesame. Right, Sesame? Come here. Come here. You can come on camera one more time. It's okay. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. She doesn't want to be, as with most cats, she doesn't want to be anywhere that she doesn't choose to be. So she's freaking out now. Okay. Yeah, cat's name is Sesame. If you have any questions between now and tomorrow, you can send me a Teams message. You can email me. That's fine. Other than that, I would say just go to your other classes, get ready for tomorrow, and then tomorrow we'll start in on the real stuff, okay? Yeah, okay, so that's all I have. It was nice having you all. Again, I'm happy that you're all here. I'm happy that you're all studying. Those of you who I already know and I've already met, it's nice to have you in class. Those of you who I don't really know very well, we'll change that. We'll get to know each other, not to worry. Yeah, and that's all I have for today. So good luck with the rest of your classes, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow, okay? So see you later.